Ahora inicia Fraude al Desnudo con Marta Cadavid. Transmisiones en vivo cada semana. Mira las transmisiones de nuevo en nuestras plataformas digitales. ¿Estás listo para aprender y compartir las mejores prácticas de la industria de administración de riesgos?
Hola, muy buenos días a todos. Soy Marta Cadavid en una sesión muy especial. Hoy, 29 de junio, en la mañana. Son las 8 de la mañana en Colombia. Y tengo una invitada súper especial, Valerie Lasry. Y hoy es una sesión muy especial, primero por el tema y segundo porque la vamos a hacer en inglés. En unos minutos Valerie se va a presentar y entonces ya nos va a explicar por qué esta sesión obviamente es tan especial y su horario. Así que thank you everybody for connecting today. My name is Marta Cadavid and today we had a special session of Fraude al Desnudo. Today is June 29th, 8 a.m. in Colombia. And today we have a wonderful guest, Valerie Lasry. Valerie, thank you so much for being part of my program and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Marta, for having me. And it's a pleasure to be speaking to you and to your audience.
Okay, Valerie, today is a very special session. So I would like that you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so I'm Valerie. I am based in Tel Aviv, Israel. And I have a background in the financial sector for many years, when I then followed up with a whole lot of different startups in different sectors, but always with the aim to help organizations or people. So offering innovative solutions in order to improve the life of the people or the betterment of the systems of organizations. Today, I represent Cybeready. I am in charge of the Northern American and Latin American countries. We offer an advanced security awareness training platform for organizations, an advanced platform which is automated and continuous and has relevant products for training today's employees and today's generations.
Yeah, thank you, Valerie. When I had the opportunity to speak to you the first time, we landed on the same goal. So from my side and No Fraud, we see every day how people break the rules and the policies in the company. And in fact, I think it was in June or May, I was in ISACA, which is like a global organization regarding cybersecurity. And this conference was in Cali, Colombia. And I was in charge to present to my colleagues how people break the rules about cybersecurity in the companies. So, for example, they don't care about passwords, users. Sometimes the leak of information is horrible in the companies. And then talking to you the very first time, we land in something and people need to be aware about this problem, okay? We landed the conclusion that the risk is always there, but the door is opened by somebody inside the company. The perpetrators are always knocking the door of the companies, okay? But if the employee doesn't understand the importance to avoid this issue, to mitigate, to just say, no, I cannot do this and follow the policies, so the companies can be protected in a better way. So, Valerie, explain to us what are the biggest risks that you have found in Latin America? What is the position of Latin America now regarding cyber risks?
All right. So exactly what you're saying. You have a lot of cyber attacks in Latin America. And frankly, it's alarming because when you look at all the various reports that are coming out, over just the last 2 years, you have a 25% increase in cyber attacks across the Latin American countries. A lot in Colombia, in Chile, Peru, Mexico, Brazil. And these attackers are going after your very strong financial sector, also the critical infrastructure, as well as your digital online world. Now, the main issue is that, yes, on one hand, a lot of organizations are not investing enough in their cybersecurity protocols, firewalls, allows, a technology. But when you take away that element, you see that the human risk is still the main cause for most of the breaches. We're talking about 68 to 70% of breaches within an organization that comes from one human error. And the reason for that is that there is a lot of social engineering. Now, when we talk about social engineering, they use the AI tools, which make it very, very easy today and very difficult to identify that this is a malicious link, or maybe, a SMS that's being sent to you, or a voice impersonation. It makes it very difficult because this social engineering can cover, for example, a request, to pay urgently an invoice, or maybe, a phishing email that comes with a malicious link. It could be also an HR, pretending to be an HR, asking for your CV, etc., and then the person will send it, or just fake delivery notifications. So there's a lot of different instances when the human is going to make that error in responding, either by clicking to that malicious link or by taking the instructions from this voice impersonation, because they don't stop to actually question whether this is a legitimate request or email. And that is because most of the time they haven't trained adequately. Now, training, okay, this is our specialty. We say at Cybeready, and this is where the name comes from, you have to move away from just being aware of something, but you have to be ready. You have to know how to react. You have to have an elevated instinct so that you stop and you ask yourself, is this legit? You go ahead and you check before you actually do that step that could, be that breach or that attack for the organization. And this is what you have to train the employees to do on a daily, continuous basis.
Yeah, you remind me something. So years ago, I worked for British Petroleum, BP, in Chicago, in the trading floor. And then I received an email with somebody looking for me in LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Email that was assigning me on BP.
Okay.
And it was my mistake. Can you believe I made the mistake and I click it?
Yeah.
And then I remember I always
Yes.
something came so ugly. It was red. It was black. It was something horrible because I remember that it says something like, "You were cat. You were gay," something like that.
Okay.
It means that the company, so BP did it for me. And then I breathe and I say, oh, I made a mistake. Because, of course, my BP email never were linked with my social media. So look at this. I made a mistake. And I pay for that because I still have in my mind how the image came immediately. It was like a flash for 5 seconds, but it was horrible and ugly. You were cat. And I say, of course, nobody knows that I work in BP, for example. My social media is totally disconnected from BP. What I did make this mistake, despite I know that I cannot do it. So I think training more like you cannot do it, be careful, is good, but we need something special. I never forgot that 5 seconds.
What you just said, Marta, is that you were aware. You were aware that
Yes.
this could be, something that you're not supposed to do.
Exactly.
But you, instead of just being aware, you were not actually reacting to the way that you should have. You didn't pause and say, hey, let me see whether this is a legit request. Let me not click on this link before I understand, and I know how to behave, because you were not trained on a continuous manner to be able to think that, hey, my reaction has to be in this particular way and not be trusting, to actually click that email. And this is where when you have a proper training within an organization, because people, we are all humans, we make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And when you make mistakes, you shouldn't be punished, but you should reinforce the learning based on those mistakes that you make. And most of the time, you'll see that it's not about the technology that's going to be attacked, it's about the human, because it's very easy to manipulate a human to make those kind of errors, because you have the element of trust, or maybe there's an urgency, or maybe there's a, the the authority of a director or CEO telling you to do something, or maybe you just want to help somebody, but help me, I'm stuck in the Bahamas, I need a transfer of funds, because they've stolen everything. So there is a few elements that make the human being very easy to manipulate. And when you are properly trained to understand how you need to react in front of any type of request, whether it comes over a phishing, malicious link, all right, which we call the phishing email, or whether it's a voice impersonation, the IT department can call you and say, hey, Marta, we have some problems. We see that you need to, maybe your password credentials were hacked. We need you to re-input your credentials. Or maybe you get a message from the bank saying, some people have been trying to do transactions, so we need now you to give me the login to your ATM. There's a lot of different types of social engineering that can happen.
Yeah.
And if you are trained properly, then you stop and you react differently, because it is going in your mind that, hey, let's take a step. Let me see whether this is legit. Let me call my director and ask him if he asked me to do a transfer. Let me call my bank and ask them, are they really calling me because somebody tried to hack into my account, etc. It takes a few more moments, but just like you said, the error is human and the effect of it stayed with you, right? So we want, and this is the whole aim of Cybeready, is to provide an automated platform which is continuous, which brings relevant products to train employees so that they know exactly, they are ready to react properly and not just be aware of something. And that way you have a ripple effect, because when I know how to react, you are employed, you are going to increase the resilience of the employees. You're going to protect the company, but you're also going to protect the person when they go back home. It'll protect him, because he's going to change his behavior at home when it comes to his bank account, his family. And then it has to go beyond just the office space. It has to be also part of your personal life.
I love that part because Valerie, knowing a little bit about human behavioral risk, we found out that, and this is not like a finding the hot water, but we cannot separate the corporate universe from the personal universe.
Yeah.
In fact, when we start to talk about the personal space, how we can protect ourselves with the bank accounts, social media, looking for a job on say, online, and then it's much easier to move to the corporate space. That's why the training in the companies cannot be only with this scope, only the corporate space.
Yeah.
If we are able to bring the human, not only the employee, the human, because at the end, people work in the companies with everything. They are holistic. So how do you incorporate that human part, the personal space, with the corporate space?
Okay. So just like you said, Marta, it's about the human that makes the decision on a daily basis, makes the payments in the corporation. It's that human element which is very important. In our platform, we are not just about giving you a course that you have to visualize, for 20 minutes and then forget about it for the rest of the year or the rest of the half of the year, because true resilience starts the day after the course, when you have continuous content which is coming to remind you of very valuable tips that you have to apply both at work and at home. So our platform gives you a very innovative product which we call micro learning bits or security bits, where it's on your workstation. I don't have to leave my inbox. I get it in my inbox. It's valuable security tips, which teaches me how to react not only at work but also at home, with passwords, with delivery of a parcel, with multi-factor authentication, etc. We cover so many different tips, which is work related and home related, because we believe that the human needs to be protected at work, but also it needs to have the ripple effect at home. We also give you pre-designed presentations on relevant topics. We could have, we have relevant use cases from the past so that any security manager can sit down with his employees every now and then, take a pre-designed presentation on a relevant topic. And right now you have the World Cup, FIFA 2026. A lot of scams, a lot of frauds, because this is when hackers are, trying to sell you fraudulent tickets. And we had a story on the TV the other day where I think it was a Mexican girl that took her grandfather to see Mexico play against another team. She paid $6,000, for a ticket for her grandfather, only to come to the stage, to the ground, and then they found that the tickets were not valid. And that's just one story. There's many, many different stories. So we, on our platform, besides the obviously phishing simulations, which is really the backbone, you need to be continuously trained on how to identify phishing simulation. You need to report it so that you alert the security manager, but also you become aware of it. We have the security bites that are covering home and work topics, and we have pre-designed presentations on relevant topics. So for FIFA, the 2026, we have a presentation. It tells you about the frauds, about the scams, what to look for. Now, before such an event, you take your employees, or you take a head of a department, say, let's have a discussion about this. This is what's going on. You want to protect them because they are your employees. And in turn, you're protecting their families, because now they're giving them relevant information, which they're going to go back home with, and they're going to share with their families and friends. And also, today's the FIFA World Cup. Valentine's Day, we have a presentation on romance scams. When there was the war going on, you have geopolitical, situation that creates more hackers and more attacks. So we have a library of those presentations that you can use, as well as posters, which you can download and put up, next to the coffee machine, in the break room, in the employee meeting room, anything to remind people of the important tips that they see coming to their inbox, but reinforces the message because it's a few seconds and they look at the message and say, yes, I just, got them into the inbox. And now when I go back home, I am, a lot more careful. So again, it's all about, like you said, protecting the employee at work because you want to protect the organization, but you also want to protect the employee when they go back home and it trickles off into the personal space.
Excellent. I love the part that I think about the human before or first that the corporate space, because if we don't have this practice, if we don't have this discipline, so we are going to impact the company wherever we go. Valerie, in your experience, so what is how can I say this? Not the worst, but where is the area worldwide where we have more problems? It's Latin America, it's the United States, it's Africa, it's Asia, it's Europe. So where we have to be more careful.
Careful. Well, I was reading a lot of studies recently, and I can tell you that it doesn't look very good for Latin America, because the cyber attacks in Latin America have way surpassed those in the Middle East and Africa. So today, after the US, where the largest of corporations are being hit on a weekly basis, I read that there's about 2,500 attempts of cyber attacks in Latin America on a weekly basis. All right. So that means that you have to have a change of mindset. And the philosophy cannot be to say, okay, we will rely on our cybersecurity protocols, which slowly organizations are putting together. But we will rely on small presentations we give to our employees, once every few months, maybe a couple of phishing simulations. It's not enough, Marta. You have to change. You have to change your way of doing things. If it's not being taught in the schools and if it's not in the public campaigns to make people aware of the dangers of, the internet, of digital online, of banking online, etc., then you need to at least train your employees adequately so that they take that information and they also apply it in their daily personal lives, and then they share it with their close ones, because what you want to do is create a cyber security culture, right, around the organization, etc. So Latin America doesn't look very good in the sense that you have increasing attacks on a weekly basis, and it's going up by 25% almost yearly. So you need to do something about it, because your infrastructures are now, critical. You have very, very large, banking groups
Yes.
doing very well. You have critical infrastructures. You have the health sector. You have the educational sector. They're
Okay.
all prone for attacks, and it's all down to manipulating that human that is, maybe aware that they could be attacked, but they haven't been trained adequately to react properly because of a lack of knowledge, a lack of, proper, adequate, teaching of, what is out there in terms of the malicious attacks that get them to actually, allow the hackers to come in.
No, and in fact, you are aligned with Rickson Focus. Rickson Focus is the biggest study that the Internal Auditors Institute globally issue every year. And one, I think is the cyber risk is I think is the first or second position in the top of the
So,
study. Rickson focuses is as like a ACFE, the report to the nations, also brings the cyber risk like the one of the highest risks that companies are suffering a lot today, because
yes.
despite they try to do everything, it's the human risk that brings the highest risks in the company.
Yeah.
Humans behavior. Okay.
68% of the breaches, 68% becomes from a human error. So
Yeah.
when you say 68%, that's very, very high. So again, we're talking about people, you and me, if I get the tips, and I can give you, for example, a tip today where you have a lot of businesses online today. So
Yep.
your viewers right there, when they see an advertising, all right, for a product that they like on on a website which they think they know, and it looks too good to be true, because all of a sudden they're giving you a 60-70% discount by clicking this link to buy this product, you should know that it is too good to be true. What you need to do is you need to step away from that, so-called website. You need to open on your browser a new tab. You need to click to put in the name of that brand name or website that go into the legitimate website and see whether there is really such a discount on a product, and don't fall prey to a malicious link on that is also part of advertising, but this is again protecting the people. And these are the types of tips that we give our customers on our platform, which is, by the way, automated and continuous. So very little resources or work to be done by the security teams, because we do everything in the background. We also have algorithms that is going to train, everybody on the level that they need to. But we give you valuable tips that is important for you to apply in your daily lives, but also in the corporate setting.
Excellent. Thank you, Valerie. Valerie, where can people find you?
So I am obviously on LinkedIn, Valerie Lasry. Otherwise, I'm reachable by email, valerie@cybeready.com. And I would be happy to give them a demo of our platform, of the different innovative products that we offer in order to create real resilience of employees within companies. And we also have all the data that is updated on a weekly basis for the security teams to be able to see exactly how effective a training campaign is, and also quarterly reports that it's already pre-designed and prepared for them for the board. So I'm reachable via Cybeready website. You can contact us on LinkedIn. Find me, Valerie Lasry, or valerie@cybeready.com.
Thank you,
And
Valerie.
of course, en español, por supuesto, yo puedo también hacer la presentación y la discusión en español con vosotros.
Gracias, Valerie. Y es muy importante saber que existen personas que han desarrollado esto, que no se tienen que inventar el agua caliente. Muchas veces somos en las compañías tratando de hacer las cosas from scratch, desde el principio, cuando ya todo está listo, y sobre todo que nos pueden ayudar a decantar toda esta información y a ponerla en el momento preciso y en el lugar preciso. Por acá tenemos a Maribel Vázquez, es una amiga de México, gran amiga, and she said, hi, it's great to see you both. I am Maribel Vázquez from Mexico. Quick question. The platform Valerie mentioned, it is a training platform and training program, an anonymous whistleblower channel, or all of the above. And where can we find more information about it? So just to have a context, Maribel is in Mexico, and she belongs to one of the biggest organizations of compliance officers and in Mexico, and also has a program, can I say a program, to educate compliance officers. So how could we can respond to Maribel?
So first of all, our platform, not only gives, the V on compliance courses, requirements, but we go beyond that. We also give you the phishing simulations. We have innovative products, but I think that, I would love to be able to present to her, to give her a demo, because it's not easy for me to present it, in 2 minutes. I'd like to show her the actual platform, which is provided to organizations, to entities, so that they can also be compliant, but not only put a V on the compliance, but also make sure that they have the adequate phishing simulations, they have the adequate innovative products, because you need to go beyond just the compliance part, right? It's not about just saying, okay, I'm compliant. It's not enough today, Marta. We just spoke about it for half an hour. You need to be able to get people to move away from just having this awareness and to know how to react. And reacting can only come by continuously training the employees with relevant security tips, with presentations, with posters, with courses. It's an ensemble, right, of products continuously in your inbox to create that kind of reaction. So I would love to have a session with her, and I can introduce the platform.
I can commit myself to send you the information, Maribel and Valerie, okay? And then you can connect, okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Valerie, for your time. I know you are a very busy person, and also talking about these topics are very important for us. It's very important for us. So Fraude al Desnudo is always open for you, and anytime that you want to come back, just let me know, because it's not, as you said, it's not only about compliance. It's always about awareness, culture, and then to digest the information and apply it for us from the beginning, and then move it to the corporatization. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Valerie. I continue the program with my announcement. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Marta.
Muchas gracias a todos los que se conectaron el día de hoy, tal como lo expresa Valerie. No se trata de tener controles y simplemente hacer un programa de cumplimiento donde las personas simplemente digan, sí, tomé el curso. Como yo lo explicaba ahora en inglés, yo tuve esa experiencia y fue muy horrible, muy maluca, muy fea, porque en efecto, si yo recibo el correo electrónico en mi correo corporativo sobre una invitación en LinkedIn y no caí en cuenta en ese momento de que el correo de BP no tenía nada que ver con LinkedIn, no era público. Y todo esto obedecía a una campaña interna en la compañía que fue muy exitosa porque una vez que las personas le daban link, salía un pantallazo espeluznante. Era rojo, negro, muy incómodo, que todavía son 5 segundos que se quedan en la mente por mucho tiempo. Y esto me ayudó a mí a entender que, en efecto, yo no debía haberlo hecho. Entonces dirán, a ver, pero Marta sabe mucho del tema, sí. Yo tenía conocimiento, claro. Yo tenía entrenamiento, pero por supuesto. Pero en esos 2 minutos, segundos, yo perdí mi mente, yo no me acordaba. Y como todos los días usaba mi LinkedIn en la noche en casa, pues llegó un momento en que como que se unen los dos mundos, el corporativo y el personal, y cometí el error. Y por eso hoy, cuando tuve la oportunidad de conocer a Valerie, hablamos del tema, porque llegamos a esa conclusión, o ellos también tienen esa conclusión que tenemos en No Fraud, es la persona, no es la compañía, son los errores humanos. Así que yo hoy vengo y hablo de este tipo de cosas porque todos somos vulnerables, y siempre lo he dicho, somos vulnerables, somos muy frágiles, navegamos en aguas grises. Y no lo digo porque lo he visto todos los días, lo veo todos los días. No, es que a mí me ha pasado. A mí me ha pasado. Entonces, por eso hoy en Fraude al Desnudo traje a Valerie para que nos contara cómo ellos se enfocan también en el tema humano. Y obviamente es un tema no solo de compliance y de ser consciente, sino que casi que se necesita entrenamiento diario. Todos los días con capsulitas, tips, casos, las personas nos vamos entendiendo y vamos interiorizando de que esto es más que corporativo, es personal. Bueno, gracias Maribel, muchas gracias por estar acá en el programa. Bueno, les cuento que entonces en el mes de julio, entre el 20 y 24 de julio vamos a estar en Costa Rica con Reoli con 2 cursos muy interesantes, ojalá ya nos podamos ver. Igualmente en el mes de agosto vamos a estar en Isaca, Medellín, el 13 de agosto con Paola Andrea González. Aquí los quiero ver, por favor, inscríbanse, vayan a la página de Isaca Medellín, busquen a Paola Andrea, va a ser un evento espectacular en el Hotel Dan Carton de Medellín, un día lleno de muchas experiencias, de precisamente esto que estamos hablando. Yo tuve la oportunidad de ir a Cali, al evento de Cali fue maravilloso, así que también los esperamos acá en Medellín. Y también vamos a participar como sponsors en el Congreso de Auditores Internos que se celebra en Barranquilla entre el 26 y el 28 de agosto. Es el Congreso de Auditores Internos organizado por el Instituto. Acá también los esperamos. Va a ser un evento maravilloso. El primer día es con el encuentro de ideas y los 2 días siguientes ya es el congreso como tal. Allá vamos a estar Paola Andrea González y yo acompañándolos con muchas sorpresas de parte de nosotros, de No Fraud y de Reoli. Así que sean todos bienvenidos. Les quería contar, en septiembre no tenemos evento porque estoy por fuera casi un mes, y en octubre vamos a tener el evento, el tercer Congreso Antifraude 360 con Auditur, un evento espectacular que va a pasar en Quito, Ecuador, en la Universidad UTPL. Los invito a que se inscriban, van a ser 2 días súper especiales. Por favor, saquen el presupuesto y vayan. Siéntense a conversar allá con los expertos que van a tener. La universidad también está haciendo un esfuerzo enorme para acogerlos. Es un evento organizado por Auditul y el ICPF de España, y obviamente en las instalaciones de la universidad. Así que el Congreso 360 Antifraude que va a celebrarse en Ecuador los espera. Y finalmente salió la publicidad, fui invitada a participar en el CLAI de Río de Janeiro este año. Es un evento maravilloso, grande. Yo tuve la oportunidad de participar en el CLAI de Cartagena, una invitación también muy especial del Instituto de Auditores Internos. Y esta vez vamos a estar en Río de Janeiro. El CLAI se celebra entre el 29 de noviembre y 1 de diciembre. Vamos a estar allá con un track sobre inspiración y vamos a hablar cómo nosotros, como auditores profesionales en riesgos, antifraudes, necesitamos cambiar de mindset. Así que sean todos bienvenidos. Nos vemos en uno de los eventos más espectaculares de auditoría interna. Obviamente la gente también que estuvo en Singapur la semana pasada en la conferencia global, aquí también los esperamos en Brasil. Bueno, y seguimos entonces con todas nuestras cápsulas de Fraude al Desnudo. Muchas gracias a todos por conectarse. Gracias, Maribel, por estar acá, por estar conectados hoy en la mañana, día festivo, pero a Valerie la teníamos que traer en vivo desde Israel. Así que muchas gracias a todos y nos vemos la semana entrante en una cápsula más de Fraude al Desnudo. Hasta pronto. Gracias.
El fraude evoluciona, se oculta y desafía cada vez más a las organizaciones. Por eso, los profesionales que protegen la integridad empresarial necesitan actualizarse, conectar con expertos y anticiparse a los nuevos riesgos. Llega el tercer Congreso Internacional de Expertos Antifraude. 2 días de conocimiento, prevención, detección e investigación. Este 22 y 23 de octubre, vive una experiencia antifraude en Quito, Ecuador. Reserva tu lugar hoy.